Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What y'all talking about here in the chat room? I've been listening to music all day today. What's up, Ty Quinn? What's up, Kenneth Berry? Dr. Short was going in today. First off, after you done listening to me run my mouth, I want y'all to go back and listen to Dr. Short's talk from earlier today. The Ballot or the Bussy? He raised some critical points, like always. He talked about some critical things. You know, people got decisions to make up. Are you gonna go for constructive political activity, or are you gonna make political activity about your sexual activities? Which choice will people make? Yeah, Dr. Short is very knowledgeable, man. Like, what's up, James Hathaway, Jeff Will, Long Beach. Artist in Long Beach yesterday. Yeah, Dr. Short, he says things to make you think. He says things from another point of view. He's very funny on top of it, too. But when it comes to the LGBTQ community, there's no hate to people as individuals. There's no hate in regards to their sexual practices. It is what it is. But when your sexual practices become a political agenda, that now puts it in the line of fire for questioning. Because the thing about political agendas is when things become political and they become passed and become laws, that thing becomes something that people, individuals, have to live under. You dig? You dig what I'm saying? So that's why, like, we as a people, we can't be afraid of these people. We can't allow them to define the narrative. We can't allow them to say what it is. We have to say what it is. We have to say what it is. You know what I mean? Did any of y'all watch the video earlier with Dr. Short? The Ballot or the Bussy? He's done a lot of great videos. I think every video Dr. Short does is great. But these last two really been hitting on some shit, man. For real, for real. What's up, Lexi? Kirk Owen. We be good. I won't be on here all night. I just want to see some things that y'all heard about it. Yeah, watch after the live. Like Dr. Short brought up some really good points. I got to go back and listen to Jason Black from tonight. I also have to go back and listen to Tariq and see what they're talking about. And also for tomorrow, like, man, we had a good Incense and Ashtrays. Salute to everybody that was watching Incense and Ashtrays tonight, listening. We did some cool, relaxed, melodic music. Sunday night quiet storm. That good, relaxing, chill shit. Mixcloud.com/DwannB. And tomorrow, I'll be doing some live readings. I'm going to read this week. It's a 5 of Diamond week, which means expect the unexpected. Yeah. What y'all talking about in the chat room? And tomorrow I'll be doing readings on the show too. If y'all got your birthdays, of course, Cash Apps are gonna get the first preference. Yeah. Oh, Afrobeats. You mean that derivative of fusion funk called Afrobeats? This is the summer of Afrobeats. Like, our music gets reinterpreted through other cultures, and every few years, that culture gets a summer or two of shine. If you remember back in the 2000s, it was the Latin invasion with Pitbull and Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. They were playing that Latin shit, and that was the hottest shit in the world, in America. What was that, 2000, 2001? And then after a year or two, that shit was done. Same thing's going on now with Afrobeats. That's the hot shit so far this year. It's the sound of the summer of 2022. A derivative of James Brown. It wasn't until Fela Kuti came to the America and intersected with the Miles Davis sound, the James Brown sound. It wasn't until they intersected that it became a thing. Man, you say you lost your brother? Man, condolences to you, brother. Your brother and a friend? Condolences for Kirk Owen. Yeah. How do I feel about blacks defending the anti-black cholo? Gotta figure out which blacks those are. I'm 99.9% sure it's immigrant blacks defending that cholo dude. I'm 99.9% sure those are not foundational black Americans defending the cholo motherfucker. As a matter of fact, if I remember, I think I'm gonna make that my subject on Craig Facts on Tuesday. If I remember, if I don't forget, see, I'm on live, so I can't email myself right now, so I might forget. But if I don't forget, I'm gonna make the cholo dude my subject on Craig Facts on Tuesday. Because it's been a lot of Mexicans have been real comfortable using the word nigga while being racist at the same time. And now it's time that we as black Americans call them out. I think part of the reason why we haven't been calling them out, because especially if you're from like a place where there are a lot of Mexicans like LA, like I am, you got a fair amount of Mexicans that you're cool with, you know? And I think that's why a lot of black people haven't been willing to call it out, because we are, if you're from a place like LA, you got a handful of Mexicans that you hella cool with. I mean, hella cool with. So a lot of black people have been afraid in mass to call out a lot of the Mexicans. See, now the old school black people will. The baby boomers, they'll call them out. And the ones, especially the ones older than the baby boomers. The old black folks, they'll say some shit. But like my generation, millennials and stuff like that, we'll say shit to each other. We'll talk about it amongst ourselves. But we haven't been overall willing to talk about it publicly. And methinks that's changing. Methinks that's changing or changed. Because a lot of black people now ain't with the shit, and we starting to call it out. Good. Because their power only exists in darkness. Their power, which is claiming indigenous when necessary, claiming black when it's convenient, but identifying as white through the paperwork. That little Ponzi scheme, that racial Ponzi scheme that they run, that can only be effective in silence. We called it out. We're going to force them to choose a side. And of course, we all know what side they're going to choose. The majority. I'm not talking about your one or two cool Mexican friends or Puerto Rican friends. I'm talking about the 8 out of 10. We know what 8 out of 10 is going to decide when they shit get called to the carpet. The shit can only last in silence. I think I'm going to do a whole show on this pretty soon. What's up, Butter Love? What's up, Marilyn? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we know the fuck ones. I had said in the Instance and Ashtrays chat room that I wasn't going to come live. And then but it was like, you know what? I got this shit on my mind. I got to go live. My shit be spontaneous on here, y'all. And again, I want to salute to Dr. Randy Short. He gave me a really good talk last week. I really appreciate people like Dr. Randy. I want to say that publicly. And I tell Dr. Short this on the phone when we talk. I tell him I appreciate him. Because I'm the kind of person, it don't hurt me none to give you a compliment and to show you what you mean to me. I believe in telling people that while they're alive. Once people are dead, they gone. But while they're alive, like if I ever met Tariq Nasheed personally, I would tell him how much he meant to me as far as my development, just from a distance. I would tell him how much his movies and his YouTube lives meant to me in my personal development. Same if I ever met Jason Black, if I ever met Professor Black Truth, if I ever met Neely Fuller or Brother Rich, Black Magic 363. If I ever met these cats, I'd tell them. I've gotten a chance to tell Brother Ronald Hurd, We All BTV. I've gotten a chance to tell him how much his program meant to me, my personal development, especially those Dick Gregory interviews, those early Judge Joe Brown interviews, and those Dr. Randy Short interviews. I believe in giving people their flowers while they're alive. But Dr. Short was here in my live I did last week, and I know he's in my live. He's under a different name. And he heard some things that I said. I'm not going to get too deep into the conversation that we had, but he heard some things that I said. And he called me straight up and was like, Dwan, no, you're wrong. You need to do, woo, 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 woo. And he was right. I was, I be getting in my own way sometimes, getting in my head sometimes, trying to be, and Dr. Short just kind of saw through some things that I was saying, and he saw something, not that I was saying anything wrong historically or anything, but it was more about how I move on this internet. And I was talking about that. Dr. Short was like, nah, you don't need to do that. These people out here don't give a fuck about you. These people don't give a fuck about integrity. And he just telling me a lot of shit that I need to hear. I'm always going to have much love and respect for Dr. Short. I appreciate that, Jeff. What's up, Amara? I appreciate that, brother love. But, like, man, all I try to do is I just try to impact. I just be me, man. And being me means if I can halfway impact y'all the way I've been impacted by people out there, then I'd be happy. Because I've always, whatever I do creatively, whether that be here on YouTube, talking music, or whenever I do stand-up comedy, whenever I write a book, whatever I do, I always try to leave an impression and leave something that hopefully I can help somebody be better at something after they listen to me than they was before they listen to me. Because those are the people I appreciate the most, the people who can do that. I don't have many pictures, but I'll tell you right now, rest in peace, Bill Russell. I met Bill Russell. I've met 100% of every basketball player I've ever wanted to meet. I met Kareem, played basketball with Magic Johnson, met Kobe, met Phil Jackson, met Bill Russell, Tracy McGrady. I've had elevator conversations with Kevin Garnett. I've had a very fun life. I mean, a lot of my favorite musicians I would say I've met 80% of the people I've ever wanted to meet. I'll go so far as to say I've met 80% of the people I've ever actually wanted to meet. But the people that I care about the most are the ones that leave me with something to help me be a better person. Because that's what I told myself when I was a kid. All I want to be is the best person I can be. That's it. Whatever that is, however that looks, that's what I want to be. The best person I can be. So when you run across these people, like a Dr. Randy Short, for me, when I run across people like Brother Kaba Kamene, I'm so happy I got to interview him, Dr. Clyde Winters, I'm so happy I got to interview him. Judge Joe Brown, Tariq Nasheed. These are all people. I met Dick Gregory, I got a stand-up comedy story about Dick Gregory. He was here in LA performing at a comedy club called the J Spot that's now closed down for the 5th time. I was a regular there, and I wanted to open for Dick Gregory, and they did not let me open. They had this fucking white boy named Roger Rod open. And I'm like, Roger Rod's cool, He's gotten most of it. He's one of those white comics who he did the Diddy's. Remember back when P. Diddy had his comedy show? He did the second iteration of Def Jam. He's one of those white comics that did a lot of black rooms, you know? But in 2016, when that Blue Lives Matter thing started to kick off, what did Roger Rod do? Started a comedy tour called the Blue Lives Matter Comedy Tour. And this white comic who spent his whole career basically in black rooms, eating off black people, when the shit hit the fan back in 2016, that motherfucker became Mr. Blue Lives Matter. Well, a few months before that happened, Dick Gregory came here to LA and performed at the J-Spot. And I'm DwannBrown. Everybody know me as the political guy and stand-up. I hit the booker up, and they were like, nah. We got the white boy doing it. And I'm like, what? But this is, of course, this is before the Blue Lives Matter thing. This was 2015. But people like me, DJ Count, a few other black comics, we knew this motherfucker's game. He was like, he come here to slum with the niggas. But he an ex-cop. And he really just does it to get some stage time and to pander to us. He really don't fuck with us like that. And then the minute 2016 hit and the Blue Lives Matter thing became a huge thing, this motherfucker created a Blue Lives Matter comedy tour and got a whole big-ass white following behind that. Since then, I think the Blue Lives Matter thing has calmed down and he's back to doing nigga clubs. And of course, these niggas accepted him back. But when Dick Gregory came to town, and when Paul Mooney came to town, Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney came to LA about 6 months apart. They had the white boy open for them both times. But I went to the show anyway. And I got to meet Dick Gregory after the show. And I got a picture of Dick Gregory. Me and Dick Gregory together. But it's one of the worst fucking pictures of me ever. That's why you niggas ain't never seen it. I'm not a vain person, you know what I mean? I'm not that much into my looks. As long as I'm clean, I'm good. But this picture was good and terrible. So that's why you niggas have never seen it. But I got a few pictures of me and Dick Gregory. They're just terrible pictures. This nigga B Party said I got gentrified. Appreciate that, Biz Martin. But yeah, I appreciate that, Kirk Owen. Yeah, like I try to be. I don't try to be. I am genuine with y'all. I don't put on the front. I don't put on the fake. You niggas even see my flaws, especially if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I don't play like I'm above you guys. I'm better than. I don't play that shit. If somebody says some shit to piss me off, I'm gonna cuss them out on Instagram. I don't give a fuck, nigga. I don't look at me as better than anybody. And if I see you one of the motherfuckers that want to always comment on my IG or Twitter just to get attention, I'm gonna make your ass. I'm gonna hit. Okay, I may not block you. Sometimes I'll block you, but usually I'll just go hit that unfollow button. Okay, cool. They're not gonna unfollow them because when you make people unfollow you, they don't know they're not following you. They gotta consciously look you up and see that, you know, they're not following you anymore. That's the nice way of doing it. I'll make it to where you unfollow me, and then I'll filter your messages to where they don't come through. I'm a real ass human being. I ain't no fucking celebrity. This is the internet, nigga. I was on the internet back in 1999 under the goddamn name D's Nuts in Yahoo Chat and Yahoo Dominoes trolling niggas. I'm the same nigga. I'm the same nigga that was on MySpace with my MySpace page. And every Monday I do the top 10 things that I hate. I would start off with midgets. I hate midgets because I can't see them coming. That'd be number one. Number two, I hate bowl cuts. Anytime I see a bowl cut, I want to lick my fingers and slap the shit out the back of that nigga neck. 2A is mullets. I hate mullets. If you got the time to cut the side of your hair, motherfucker, cut the back of your hair too. This was me on the internet in 2004, nigga. 2003. I got my Facebook account in 2005. 2004. I got Facebook in, no, 03? 04. I got on Facebook in 04 when I was in college. DTB45567 at csun.edu was my email address. DTB45567 at csun.edu. Back when Facebook, you needed a goddamn college account to be on Facebook. I'm that same nigga. So I'm that first generation on the internet. What's up, Jeff Brown? That's another motherfucker I appreciate, Jeff Brown. Yeah, I appreciate Jeff Brown. But I'm the same cat, you know what I mean? Like, I've always been on this internet, like, in different ways. I'm that generation. I was 16 in 1997 when Yahoo Chat got real popular. It had already been around, but I was 15 in 1996 on Yahoo Chat, you know? Under the name D's Nuts. Clowning the shit out of people. Back then, this is back when you needed a scanner to have your picture on the internet, so 99% of niggas didn't have no picture on the internet. So all of our jokes were centered around what we thought you looked like. We didn't know how you sounded because there was no voice, nothing on the internet back then. Shit. I remember when people first started getting webcams in 99, 2000. That's when niggas first started getting webcams. That's when niggas, 99, I was 18. Man, you get that, you be on Yahoo Chat, then it be that one freak chick in the chat room, you 18, she got a webcam, and all the niggas be like, yo, Destiny's Child 99 got a webcam. And then niggas be all up in her inbox trying to get her to show her titties and shit. That's what we was doing when we was 17, 18, when them webcams first started hitting. I was that generation that they would tell us, don't go meet nobody off the internet. It's nothing but pedophiles and rapists on the internet. I was 16. I was in high school, 17. My mom, my dad be like, you better not meet nobody on the internet. It was TV commercials back then. Don't, your children are meeting with potential murderers and rapists online. Don't let them do that. And I was 17, like, shit. Hitting up chicks, let's meet at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall at the Warehouse Music Store. Or let's meet at the warehouse over in the Ladera Center. Or that Fat Burger. I was good for meeting chicks at the Warehouse Music in the Ladera Center or the Warehouse Music in the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall. And that would be when you first found out how they really looked. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. One time I won. This chick was fine than a motherfucker. And me and her went boonty band for a little while. That shit was fun. It was another time where I lost big. Man, I'm talking to this chick on the internet. I'm 17 and horny, right? I'm talking to her. We used to have some good conversations. I got a motherfucking history test tomorrow. But cool thing about the 12th grade in high school, second semester I only had 4 classes. I had did most of my work 9th through 11th grade, so senior year wasn't that hard. So senior year in high school, you know, you may have that one algebra 2 test or trigonometry test or that one chemistry test. And I'm over here on the phone with her in the chat room till 3 in the morning about to fuck up my chemistry test. So we meet up. If y'all remember that spot on Boys in the Hood where Ferris got killed, when Doughboy killed Ferris at the end of the movie, there was that Eater Burger. Well, back then, right next to that was a Golden Bird chicken. I met up with her at the Golden Bird, right there next to where Ferris got killed on Boys in the Hood. Man, I can't wait to see her. I'm thinking she gonna look good. Man, I see this chick. Well, I think it's a chick sitting down where she told me she gonna be sitting down. Mind you, I'm in high school, so I ain't got a cell phone yet. So you niggas now got cell phone. You niggas in your fucking 20s been having a cell phone since you was 7. It wasn't no cell phones for 17-year-old niggas back then. Not unless you was a drug dealer. Only drug dealer niggas had cell phones back then. At 17, 18 years old. So she told me where she was gonna be sitting. Man, this bitch looked like Eddie Levert. Not the son, Gerald. No, Eddie, the one from the OJs. I look in the door. She look like she ready to sing Stairway to Heaven. I'm like, man, this old, if you don't get this old, we got a message in our music as brought out my face. She look like she wanted to wrestle. I was so disappointed, man. I spent a whole 3 weeks on the phone with this chick thinking that she gonna be the one. I met her on the internet, Yahoo chat. She liked my jokes. She sounded real good on the phone. That's another thing. Them ugly ass women sounded real good. For niggas that was on a party line back in the 90s, if you ever met a chick off the party line, it was always the ones with the best voices that had the roughest faces. I'm like, this broad looked like a demon. And I had just had my dad drop me off in this Cadillac. I stayed up the hill at the time. I had just moved from Slauson from Crenshaw and Rodeo to Slauson and Overhill. For you guys that know LA, that's from the low middle class, but still hella ghetto, because there's shootings every goddamn night side of LA, to the rich nigga side of LA, the so-called Black Beverly Hills. If y'all ever seen the movie The Wood, that was shot in View Park, Ladera Heights. That's where the rich niggas stay. The Wood was actually wasn't really shot. The liquor store scene was shot in Inglewood, but where they lived when they were walking to home, that was all shot like in View Park in Ladera Heights. So that whole area is where I grew up. Boys in the Hood, The Wood, a lot of them LA movies where they was like really looking in LA, that's where I grew up. So, what up, y'all? Yeah. So, yeah, wrestle. So, it's not gentrified yet. It's being gentrified. but it's not gentrified yet. I was over there. I was over there the other day. I love it over there. I still love it over there. I still love it over there. That's why I need to buy my book so I can buy a house and go back to living over there. Shit. My book gonna be dropping real soon. Not that the book, hell. Yeah, may I sell 1,000,000 of these motherfuckers. You never know where life could take you. But anyway, so I met up with the chick, and she looked like Farouk from the WWF. Like, if you don't get this Ron Simmons looking broad out my face, that's the shit I had to deal with as a youth on the internet. That's why, like, making money off the internet was such a foreign concept for me. I done seen people come into this game and make major bread off the internet. I'm just now learning how to make money off the internet. I was slow when it came to that, real slow. I always made my money doing, I always made good enough money doing other things. I never thought about making money off the internet. But then when I found out how much money niggas was making off the internet, I said, what? Like, I look at the homie Daphne Springs. I know she is papered up right now. And she was telling me years ago, and I didn't listen. Man, if you don't get that cheap ass bike out of here, that's not a motorized bike. That nigga just farting for a long goddamn time. That nigga had a Pee Wee Herman bicycle and a lawnmower motor. The fuck out of here, nigga. Loud ass bike. Wasn't going nowhere. I could pedal faster than that. Nigga, I could pedal uphill faster than that sorry ass bike was going. Well, anyway, where was I at in my story? Like, I remember Daphne. That's my nigga right there. Anytime I see her, it's all love. I remember when I hosted the comedy union, and she would always come up, and we would, for a good year, we would always just, I'll pick her up, and we go hit these clubs together. She kept pushing, she went and got on the internet. I'm on the internet, just on Facebook, talking shit. Daphne is like, man, fuck that shit. She started hitting them sketches real hard. And sometimes a couple times she hit me up like, I'm doing sketches, come on down there, fuck with it. But I've always hated sketches. Big Ja. This nigga Big Ja used to live right down the street from me, about a mile away. This nigga lived about a mile away for years, not just a couple, for years. This nigga Big Ja used to come to my Super Bowl parties, but Ja always had that camera in his hand. And he'd always tell me, Dwan, you funny, you need to film a special. I'll record it. And I'd be like, yeah. Kind of just fucking around with stand-up, you know? And Ja would always tell me. And I actually did end up doing like a small mini special, like a 10-minute special. I might release that to y'all. But Ja filmed it. Craig was a producer on it. And Craig, if you go back to Craig's, that Tony Sinclair sketch that he did, Jarvis Kincaid. When Craig was in he has a vest on and an earring, and like I'm in that sketch, I'm like his server. We filmed that shit in my apartment when I first moved in this motherfucker. But I saw Ja and Daphne. They got online and them niggas just started working magic. And I saw this shit happen right before my eyes. Them go from, just trying to jump on the show here and there to goddamn owning the internet. And that's just so goddamn beautiful to see. Because I remember everybody back then in 2013, 2012, all them OG comics would be like, man, ain't no money on the internet. You better work that stage. All them Def Jam comics, all them old school comics would tell us, ain't nothing on the internet. Y'all better get good at the stage. And me, I went in the line of, okay, I'm going to get good on stage. I didn't take the internet serious at all. All the way down to saying no to roast me when it first started. Like before it got big. It's like it's the pilot episode. I said no. I didn't take the internet serious. I would do shit with all that digital and then just get my little couple $100 and go back to work. I wasn't thinking about this shit. I remember when Teddy first got started. And Teddy was out there hitting them rooms. Now I see what that nigga did with the internet. I remember when Kamira first got started. I see what she doing. I remember when Precious first moved to LA. Me, Precious, and Larry had a show together at some little dive bar in Beverly Hills. And Precious had just gotten out here from Oak Cliff. And I remember when I first saw Precious on stage here in LA. It was me, Precious, and Larry and some other niggas. That show was fun. But at the end of the day, what's up, Dub? Yeah, Kurt. Here's the thing, Kurt. It's not striking out. I see everything happens in time, you know? Here's one thing about life. You gotta follow your heart. You gotta do what's best for you, man. You gotta do it your way. When I look at Daphne, she had a plan. I remember when Daphne was there on set to be an extra, and then she would hit me up, and then she would be like, oh, I got a VW commercial. She was sitting all day being the extra. I remember when Daphne was running that extra grind. So her going to the internet was her way of saying, I'm not gonna wait. Matter of fact, press number 1 if y'all want me to hit her up and do another interview. If y'all look, I've already interviewed Daphne twice on this show. When I first started, and also the day I decided to name the show Hotepish. Daphne was on the show. That was the day I decided to name the show. Press number 1 if you want me to interview her. I think I will. I think I just want her to tell her story. It's funny. When this show was D Brown Hour, when I was doing it down at the radio station, I had like a whole bunch of guests that are like famous now. And I was getting like 7 people in the chat room live. And Butterlove was one of the 7. It would be me and Larry, and I would have somebody in studio. I had Big John in studio on one of those shows. Slink, Daphne, a couple times. This nigga Walter Well said too, you fool. Bismarck T. Hey, Bismarck T, I'm still gonna kick your ass for saying John C is my sister. I love John Cena. I tell you this, I do love her like she's a sister. Every time I see her, it's always love. We talk a little shit on Facebook sometimes, but I don't be out on the comedy grind like that. So I don't be seeing people like that no more. But like I don't look at it as like going back to what you said, Kirk Owen, earlier. I don't see it as a missed opportunity. It wasn't my time. Like I look back and I see when some of my friends start to really bubble up. Here come that cheap ass bike again. God damn. This mother, if you don't get that Pee Wee's Playhouse, that shit ain't even a lawnmower engine. That motherfucker got a leaf blower engine. What the fuck? All that goddamn noise, he done traveled 10 feet. Anyway, it wasn't my time. This nigga B probably here. You hear that Billy Carson? Yeah, my wife in there listening to Billy Carson. Y'all hear that? I'm on the porch. This nigga B probably hear the Billy Carson in the background. Yeah, my wife in there listening to Billy Carson right now. I love the hell out of my wife. My wife is my best friend. I love the hell out of her. But going back to what happened was, it just wasn't my time. I look back to where I was mentally in 2015. Mentally, I was very fragile at that time. I was very vulnerable mentally at that time. I was working at this job I used to work at, and that job mentally beat me down. I told y'all before, for people who follow this show, y'all have heard this story before. I will have kids call me. I will be on the way to a show. I'm booked at the Comedy Union, and Jeff Brown's in the chat room. He knows what this means. I'm booked at the Comedy Union for the Saturday 10:30 show. You know, that's the night you gotta bring it. The Comedy Union is what ended up replacing the what was Robin Harris's night after he died, and the Fat Tuesdays. Y'all saw that documentary? Well, after the Fat Tuesdays was what it was the Comedy Union Saturday night. That's the hottest night in Black LA. Rodney Perry's the host. So Rodney Perry stopped being the host when I was doing it. I forgot who was hosting. I think David Arnold was hosting. And salute to David Arnold. He's put up a new Netflix special that's funny as hell. David Arnold's hosting, or Joey Wells. Joey Wells, he's one of the Plastic Cup boys. I'm booked. But I got a kid calling me. Quarter to 10, Dwan. Me and my brother, we haven't eaten since Thursday. We hungry. And I'm on the way to the Comedy Union. Let Jeff Brown tell you in the chat room how much that meant. I'm on the way to the Comedy Union to tell jokes. And I'm having my 12-year-old client tell me that he and his brother haven't eaten in 2 days. So boom, I'm on the way to the Comedy Union, Pico and La Brea. This kid lives on the east side, McKinley and Century, that area. For those of you know McKinley, we right there at Watts, South LA Watts. Watts is just a couple blocks over. And it's a Saturday night, 9:45 p.m. What do I gotta do? Boom, abort mission. Go to Little Caesars, get some hot and ready pizzas. Get about 4 of them. Get some chicken from Popeyes. It's back where you can get 12 legs and thighs for like $9, $8. And I take this shit to the kids. Now I gotta go tell jokes on stage. This is shit I'm going through 2012, 2011, leading up to 2015. So that job I told you that's the job I had where I had a mom telling her son right in front of me that you a bitch ass nigga and that's why I need to send you back to foster care because you ain't shit, just like your daddy. I'm hearing the mom tell her son this right in front of me. So I wasn't in a good place mentally. I hadn't gone to therapy yet. I had since gone to therapy, but at 2015, I hadn't gone to therapy yet. 2015 was around the time that I got somebody that I used to be literally best friends with. Literally best friends. Best man at this dude's wedding. We doing a podcast together. This nigga stabbed me all the way. I have a comedy show that I'm putting together. This motherfucker stabbed me in the back, put my show up in the name of some other comic that got a bigger name than mine. And then our sports show we was doing that I was paying for, mind you, I wasn't in a good position financially, but I was paying for the sports show on Blog Talk Radio. This nigga's working, literally playing in the NBA, making millions of dollars. Didn't put a dime in on it. And then he fucks. I make him and Larry Goodwell. They become cool because of me. Then this nigga fucks over Larry Goodwell, and this shit happens right in front of me. And all this shit on my mind at that time, Daphne gets blown up, Big Ja. As a matter of fact, Big Ja hadn't blown up yet. Just before Big Ja had blown up, he had like a 2 or 3 day period between when he had to leave his apartment and move to a new apartment. I'm not saying he was homeless. I don't want y'all thinking that shit. Big Ja had already had a whole nother situation ready, but he couldn't move into his new apartment. It was like a 2 or 3 day gap. So Big Ja slept on my couch. And I'm not saying that because as no big boy shit. It wasn't because he fucked, no. Big Ja shit was straight. It was all the way 100. It's just that his new apartment, it was like a delay that he couldn't control. And he had already moved out of his last apartment. So it was something out of his control. It's not like the nigga was homeless. Big Ja's always been in good shape financially. He's always taking care of himself. So when I tell that story, I'm not saying it as if Big Ja was down and out and he had to sleep on my couch. Hell no. That could be the furthest from the truth. He was in good shape. It was just some issue with his new apartment where the other person, I think they couldn't move out or something like that, and he got delayed a night or two. And so Big Ja slept here. That's me and his relationship. You know what I mean? But I was going through all this shit at that time. I wasn't ready to blow up, nigga. I wasn't ready to do what Daphne did. I wasn't ready to do what Big Ja did. If my blow up happened at that time, I was so depressed. That's why I said no to roast me. I was depressed, man. My excuse I give to other people, because we all, at some point in our lives, let's just tell the truth, we all wear a mask at some point, every day. We wear a mask. And my mask at that time was, man, I had just done 2 or 3 sketches with All Def Digital, and they didn't go nowhere, and they told me it was one thing and it was something else. So I didn't want to take another day off work. That's why I said no to roast me. That's the mask that I wear. But if I'm going to be 100 and tell the truth was I was depressed and I didn't think I was good enough. I was depressed and I wasn't feeling myself, and I didn't know why. So when I got called with the opportunity, I said no. That's the true story if I'm being 100. Because I could have taken off work. At the time, I had like 300 hours of sick time at my job because I wasn't taking no time off back then. I had like 300 hours of sick time. Hell yeah, I could have taken off work. That's just a lie I told people, so I wouldn't have to tell people I was depressed. And I just didn't feel myself. So when I see my friends who've blown up, I remember Slink. And Slink is an inspiration to me. Fuck Slink Johnson. I can't stand that nigga. This past week, Butter Love in the chat room, you saw, he had me really thinking Delora was dead. I can't stand that nigga Slink Johnson. But I remember when we first started, before Black Jesus came, when Slink was, what's up, G Mars? When this nigga said Billy Carson ain't human at all. Y'all niggas are stupid. But I gotta be honest with y'all because hopefully through my honesty, I can help somebody else. See, niggas like putting on fronts like everything is right and faulty. No. We learn through our fuck ups. And what better way to help teach somebody else than through teaching our fuck ups, my fuck ups. I ain't perfect, nigga. Nor do I want to cast that image. That whole day of the Bill Cosby, Will Smith, got it all together guy, that shit's over with. See what happened to Bill Cosby and Will Smith? You can play that shit all you want. All it takes is one incident, and that whole game is over. So you might as well just be who you are. And that's who the fuck I am. Because one day, if I ever do blow up, somebody gonna go back and watch these videos. And if I did try to fake it, do I remember you said? Okay, yeah, whatever. But anyway, I wasn't feeling myself. I was depressed. I was not in a good space. So at the same time, London Brown blew up. He had gotten on that show, Ballers with The Rock. Now he's on the show on Stars with the 50 Cent show. We were all together at the same point. His blow up came first. He's the one out of our class. London Brown budded first. I remember when Tony Baker used to call me when I hosted Monday night at the Comedy Union. Hey, Dwan, man, you got some time tonight? Hell yeah, I give Tony Baker time anytime he wanted to because Tony Baker was always grinding. That motherfucker was on stage 5-6 nights a week. Am I personally cool with Tony Baker? No, we never really kicked it like that. But he's always been respectful. He's always been a good dude, and he's always been a hard worker. And I got to see Tony Baker's blow up happen right in front of me. And I'm glad to see that. You know what I mean? Sidney Castillo. This nigga writes for everything. Y'all may not know who he is, but he's done this show 3 times. He's going to do it again when I do my show in the metaverse. Sidney's going to be a guest. He writes for that Bomani Jones show. He's written on the BET Awards the last like 12 years. He's written on everything. David Arnold, he was like a mentor to us, you know? Y'all see David Arnold, his new Netflix special? I met David Arnold before I even started doing stand-up comedy. I used to hoop with David Arnold at LA Fitness. LA Fitness, before I started doing comedy. I used to hoop with David Arnold, Katt Williams, Adam Sandler sometimes would be there, Gerald Kelly, and his son, Isaiah Kelly. Isaiah's a grown-ass man. I remember when Isaiah Kelly was like 13. He was that middle school kid trying to hoop with the grown people. Isaiah Kelly was there. Um, and a few other people. I can't mention all the names. I don't. It's a few other names. I just can't think off the top of my head. But David Arnold was always the nigga that used to always. He was the nigga that anytime he missed a layup, it was a foul. And I'd be like, man, fuck this nigga. David, I didn't even know he was a comedian. He was the nigga that would always, anytime he missed a layup, that was a foul. That was a foul. I hated playing against him. But me and David Arnold used to go at it on the basketball court. He's older than me. So I was younger, so I used to work that nigga on the court. I used to work that nigga. Because y'all know I had that post game. Then I go to the comedy union one night to watch. Jeff Brown's on the show. And I see the dude I hoop with doing stand-up. I'm like, what the fuck? This nigga do. I was so surprised to see David Arnold was a stand-up comedian. Because he was always the angry nigga on the basketball court. That's how intertwined LA is. And so when I first started doing comedy, David Arnold, he was teaching comedy. I never took his class, but I remember one time London Brown took his class, Daphne Springs took his class, Stevie J, the comedians, took his class. A few other people. He has a lot of people that I can honestly say his class, most stand-up comedy classes that's just a money grab. But the people that worked under David Arnold, he has some talented comedy that came out of that. But now he has a Netflix comedy special, and that shit was so goddamn funny. Why would you say Larry Goodwell is surprisingly? Why were you surprised Larry's funny? Larry's funny as hell. You shouldn't be surprised. Larry, yeah, that's how I met Larry. I met Larry and all these niggas at the same time. But I wasn't ready. Looking back, I was not ready to blow up. I was not ready to be where Daphne got. I was not ready to be where Big Jaw got or London Brown. To hear more. He was another one. He was in that class with us. When they shit blew up the way it did, mentally, the place that I was in at that time, Teddy Ray and was like a couple years behind, like 2 years behind me. Him and what's his name, the brother who just who just died. I'm drawing a blank. I see his face. Y'all know the Jack Knight? Him, Teddy Ray, Valentino, Brent Taylor. No, Brent Taylor. Brent Taylor was my DJ at the Comedy Union. But Jack Knight, the one that just killed himself, I remember when him and Teddy Ray started. I had been doing comedy for like 2 years when I first saw those two come on the scene. You know? I appreciate that, Jordan. Yeah, my calling was just different. Like, for me, I never wanted to be Richard Pryor as a stand-up comedian. Here's the reason why I started doing stand-up. I started doing stand-up in 2000, at the end of 2009, end of November, 2009. Back then, there was no, YouTube was around, but that was more so people doing stupid-ass cat videos. I didn't see the vision with YouTube and podcasting. I was still trying to get on the radio back then. So I figured my route to the radio is going to be through stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is the hardest form of live entertainment. Acting is one thing, music is something else. In music, if you got your shit rehearsed right, you're going to be all right. People going to dance to the music. Even if the band ain't tight that night, you can get by at music. You're on stage with like 5 other people. So, even though the song may sound bad, it's not everybody looking at you. Stand-up comedy is just you. And people are coming expecting to laugh. So I figured if I can do that, that'll get me into radio. I'll be able to do anything else that I want to do. I never wanted to be Richard Pryor. So I didn't take stand-up that serious as far as making a career out of it. I always used it to develop my chops and make sure anytime a camera is on me, anytime I'm in front of an audience, my mind is sharp and ready to deliver. That's why I joined stand-up, started doing stand-up comedy, was to really make it to where, and my stand-up comedy style is improv. That's why I could take 6 months off stage and get right on stage and do well. Because I don't rehearse my jokes. I don't have a written set. I have a few topics that I cover, but I improv those topics every night. I always want to make sure I treat comedy the way I treat jazz. Jazz is a new show every night. Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, John Coltrane, McCoy Turner. These people brought you a new show every night. You weren't going to get last night's show tonight. You were going to get tonight's show tonight. And that's how I treated stand-up comedy, as a true artist. But my friends who really approach it as a business, them motherfuckers are blown the fuck up. And I'm proud of these niggas. But that wasn't for me at that time. That's why, like, for you guys out there, you just gotta make sure that you make it for you. You gotta do whatever you do for you and be true to yourself. And when you see other people in positions you would like to be in, still celebrate them, because they made the moves they needed to make to get to where they got. If you want it that bad, learn from them and figure out how they got there and figure out how you can do that yourself. Don't hate on them. Don't undercut them and say, man, they only got there because they do such and such. Don't do that weak shit. That's just weak. You don't know why anybody got whatever the fuck they got. So learn from them motherfuckers for you to get it yourself if that's what you want to do. Or tune into yourself and be clear on what you need to do and mastermind that project. Jeff, you know that Jack Knight, you know that young brother, Jack Knight was what, 28 years old? They said he committed suicide. A single gunshot wound to him. That's what the news said. He was a funny nigga. I saw him at the Improv just a few months ago. His name was Jack Knight, J-A-K Knight. I think it was Jack Knight, yeah. Yeah, Walter, yeah, they said, the chat room said it, yeah. What's up, Wally Gibson? But I don't know why I'm still talking to y'all. I gotta take my car in for an oil change like at 7 in the morning. I wanna got that appointment. Let me be the first car up in this bitch so I could be the first car about this bitch and come back home and take a nap. I will be doing a reading tomorrow on the 5 of Diamonds. This is a 5 of Diamonds week. We will talk about the high side and the low side, what to look for, what to expect this week. And I will be doing some live readings online on the show. Cash App gets first priority. Yeah. Yes, sir. But remember, there are no perfect messengers. Hey, and my new book is coming. I appreciate that, Wally, for getting the other book, but my new book is coming. Tomorrow, while I'm waiting on my car oil change to get done, I'll be doing all the final edits on my new book, so I can put it up there for sale for y'all, hopefully this week. I holler at y'all.